Welcome back to another episode of the Choose Optimism podcast brought to you by Optimism International. Today we have Amanda Klopfenstein and John Yusko with us. John from Menomonee Falls. Thanks for being with us, John and Amanda.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
So, one of the things we talk about on this podcast is your Optimist story. Why don't each of you tell us your Optimist story and how you got involved with the Optimist organization?
Okay, I'll start.
Yeah.
So I got started a few years ago, probably 10 or 12 years ago. I was working in real estate, and the office manager suggested that, hey, you guys ought to get involved in the Optimist Club. She was an Optimist Club member. She goes, it's a good way to make some, it's a good way to network. And I nosed around a little bit and said, yeah, I don't think this is for me right now. And a couple years later, I met my current girlfriend, and she said, hey, I'm a member of the Optimist Club. Don't you think you'd like to join? And why don't you come to a meeting? And I said, yeah, sure. It's cheaper than buying flowers. And so I went to a meeting and said, all right, let's try this. And about 10 years later, I've been pretty active. It's pretty nice. It's a good organization for us to be active in the community, and really enjoy it.
John's the best. He is current president for at least the second time. How many times have you been president?
Yes, my second term.
Second term. He's great. He's the reason I stuck around.
Amanda, tell us your Optimist story, how you got involved with the Optimist organization.
Yeah, so my husband and I got married in 2019, and we moved out to Menomonee Falls from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 2020. So moving to kind of a new area and having it be COVID times, everything kind of shut down. We didn't really get out. We couldn't really explore the neighborhood and the community. So once things kind of lifted and we could start meeting people, we were at a in the village park here is where a lot of festivals are held, and there was an Optimist Club table, and I just knew that I needed to join an organization to network, to meet people, to learn the community a little bit better. I plan to raise my kids here, so just how do I get involved? And I like to think I'm a very optimistic person by nature. So the club just kind of stood out to me. And one of my sorority sisters was actually working the table and was a member. And so it just kind of felt right to join and start attending meetings and doing all the events. And here I am a few years in, and I'm on the board, and I'm marketing chair and love it. So yeah, it's going great. Meeting a ton of new people, getting to know the community, giving back to the kids. I have an almost 2-year-old daughter, so it just feels right to know how proceeds are going back to the kids in the community, what organizations are around in the community to just kind of help volunteer, give my time back and whatnot. So that's my story.
Sounds like you guys are both pretty involved in your Optimist Club.
We are.
Absolutely. Yeah, Amanda's been a great addition. She's been here a couple of years, and yeah, she's dove right in. She's helped us with marketing, which is one of the things we were kind of poor at before. And Amanda's brought a lot of good insight into what we should be doing, what we could be doing. And we made big improvements over the last couple of years since she's been around. And then, like she said, she dove in. It's a real challenge. I suspect this is true in many Optimist clubs. It's a challenge getting people to volunteer to be on the board. They think it's going to be a ton of work, and boy, I don't want to mess around with that kind of stuff. And Amanda dove right in and said, sure. So at one point, she'll be the president.
Working on it. John's always working on it.
Well, each Optimist Club is unique. Tell us a little bit about your Optimist Club and some of the things that you guys do for projects and fundraisers. Well, let's start with fundraisers. How do you guys fundraise to fund your projects?
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we'll talk a little bit. We'll probably do a little tag teaming here, but yeah, we have a number of different events. So we call them. We do a number of things that are service events where it's not so much fundraising, but we do things for the community. But we do fundraisers, and we just completed one. This is one of the things that we started a couple years ago. Was a series of meat raffles, and not sure if you guys are familiar with meat raffles, but we basically go into we get a local establishment, a saloon, a bar, to
Restaurant, yeah.
to invite us in for an afternoon on a Saturday afternoon for a couple hours, and we have a series of raffles where you can win meat, and it's great. So people are out there having a good time on a Saturday afternoon. They're spending money on the raffles and walking home with a basket full of meat. These things have gotten to the point where we had 6 of them this year. We just had our last one last week, and we raised about $11,000 through the meat raffles. We have actually 3 other big fundraisers. Well, actually 4 now. The first one's coming up in a couple of weeks. We're going to try a casino night. We anticipate this is going to probably generate around 10,000. It's our first one, so we'll see what happens. But we have a limited number of tickets. They've sold out, and we think it's going to be a big success. So we're looking forward to that. The next one coming up after that is golf outing. So we have this golf outing at a local golf course. We usually get about 140 to 150 players to come out to this. We have a lot of fun with a lot of different games and that kind of stuff. But that one generates about $20,000 for us every year. And the primary goal of that one is for our scholarships. And we can come back a little bit and talk about where we give money away. But we give money away to local high school graduates every year. And most of the money from the golf outing goes toward that. We also have a popcorn wagon that opens up at the end of May. So we're basically run from Memorial Day through Labor Day. That sits in our village park. And that generates, believe it or not, about between $15,000 and $20,000 a year, based on how good the weather is.
For popcorn. It's the best popcorn.
Selling popcorn.
That's a great fundraiser. Popcorn must be very popular.
Yeah. Meat
it's
and
great.
popcorn.
And we have a good location. We're in the village park, and there's a lot of people there. And so anyway, $15,000 to $20,000. And then right after that, right around Labor Day, a week after Labor Day or so, we have what we call our Packer raffle. So it's for the Green Bay Packers again. It's one of our biggest fundraisers. So we sell raffle tickets, and we only sell 360 of these tickets, $100 a piece, and there's 20 prizes. So you've got pretty good odds in this thing, and we generally sell out every year with those things too. Their lights just went out, but anyway. We generate around $20,000 with that every year. So those are our main fundraisers. That help you? You want to talk about what we give money away for?
Let's talk about each one individually real quick and kind of give our listeners a recap in case they want to borrow one of your ideas. So tell us a little bit more about the meat raffle.
Yeah, so the meat raffle, we work with a local meat sourcing packing company to kind of give us meat at cost, essentially. That's right. And we basically put together these baskets of, 4 different meat items, and people will pay per basket. So say we have 10 baskets, each basket is a new round. So we'll announce the first basket, what types of meat are in the basket. We go around, sell tickets, $3 a ticket, and then pull winners of that round, essentially. So the winner will get the meat basket, and then we kind of do a second or third prize for maybe if we get donations of wine or beer. And so just more enticing for people to buy more tickets at the start of the round. So we do that 10 times. Sometimes we have like a final golden basket, number 10. It's just more like a more glamorous basket of meat and lobster and whatnot. And the tickets are $5 for the bigger basket at the end. So just selling those tickets, and the event runs from like 1 to 4 p.m. And yeah, usually the place we're hosting the raffle at will donate like a gift card and whatnot to kind of win at the end as well. So just giving people who attend more enticing and more chances to win.
It's a win-win for both the establishment and for us. So obviously we're making money at it, but they're getting customers coming in. They're sitting around all afternoon, and they're actually some of the local establishments are kind of lined up around here asking us if they can't be in one of our meat raffles. And
Yeah.
so it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
That's a great thing to have,
fun.
great problem to have as a business
Yeah.
that wants you to come in and fundraise there.
Yes.
Exactly. And we promote on both sides. On the marketing end, they're helping promote it in their establishment. We're promoting it on our social media and to our members. So, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the Packer fundraiser. That one sounds like a very interesting one because you guys are close to the Green Bay Packers.
Right. Yeah, it is an interesting one. And like I said, it's $100 a ticket, and we sell out every year. And so the prizes, like I said, we only sell 360 of these things. We give away 20 prizes, so you got a 1 in 18 chance of winning something. The lowest prize is a free ticket for next year, so that you can walk away breaking even. But the grand prize is generally a trip up to Lambeau Field. I forget how many tickets we have. I think it's like 10 or something like that. So it's for you and a group of your friends to go up to Lambeau Field, take in a game of your choice. We supply the transportation up there. We provide some money for you to buy souvenirs and that kind of stuff, and we provide money for food. So the people make a day of it. They love it. You don't have to worry about going up. Green Bay is about 2 hours away from us. So you don't have to worry about watching what you're drinking and stuff. You can get a ride back. And the other prizes are basically cash prizes. So you're getting a couple $1,000, couple $100 all the way down. So it's a really good fundraiser. It's a good time. We have the fundraiser. The actual event is held the weekend after Labor Day or the Monday after Labor Day. And we call it a tailgate party. So we've got hamburgers and hot dogs and all the kind of stuff you'd have at a football game. So you're getting food as well as an entry into the raffle.
Yeah, so it's like the tailgate party is basically us picking the raffle tickets to like a live winning, like who's going to win what. And throughout the event, there are other baskets of goodies, essentially, people putting together raffle baskets that, you want to pay $20 for X amount of tickets to potentially win this raffle basket, whatnot, or there's usually like a beverage basket that you can put in for. So just more ways to help raise money overall.
And of course, 50-50 raffles.
Oh, yes. We love 50-50 raffles. We do 50-50 raffles pretty much at anything, at any of our events. And it's nice because the community is so great. And a lot of times people usually donate the money back. They win half, we keep half, people donate back, either all or some that they win, which is really thoughtful, really kind.
Sounds like you guys raise quite a bit of money throughout the year to fund for your club.
Oh, yeah. How much do you think we raise per year?
Per year, we're probably in the $60,000 range. $60,000 to $70,000 each year is what we raise. And then we give all that away.
Yeah. That's the goal.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What kind of projects do you guys fund with your various fundraisers?
You want to talk about Village Park?
Sure.
We've talked about Village Park a lot. Keep it going.
Yeah, we have a couple of things, but Village Park is a recent one where we put a lot of money and a lot of time into it. So close to our downtown area, they were redoing what used to be old ball diamonds and stuff. And they said, you know what, we could do a better job with this space. So they turned it into a park, and they put in a bandstand kind of thing where they now have concerts, a big lawn where you can listen to concerts. We now have our popcorn wagon in the park. But they did the first phase of this thing that included a beer garden, by the way. And it started doing concerts and stuff. And then they said, I think it was about a year or two later, they said, well, the next phase of this is we want to put in a kids area. And the kids area includes handicapped accessible swings and slides and all that kind of stuff.
Handicapped accessible.
It's a really nice park, and plus a splash pad.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were converting some tennis courts into pickleball courts and that kind of stuff. The whole deal there was they wanted to raise about $1 million. The village is putting in a bunch of their own money, but they wanted to raise $1 million in donations. And they said, wonder who can handle that for us. They contacted the leaders of the Optimist Club and said, hey, you guys are good at fundraisers. How would you like to sort of lead this thing? The goal was to raise about $1.1 million, and I think we raised about $1.15 million. So we actually exceeded the goal, working with a number of people. So from our club, we donated $50,000, and the effort happened to coincide with our 50th anniversary. And we said, okay, well, we'll kick in, we'll put in some seed money, we'll put in $50,000 to celebrate our 50th anniversary. And then a lot of our Optimist members worked with the fundraising teams to go out and raise the money. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the biggest things. The village ended up naming a street after us. They put up some memorial signs and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of cool. Get a lot of publicity out of it.
Yeah, awesome.
So that's one of the big things we've done recently. The other thing that we do every year, which we're very proud of, is we give scholarships to the high school graduates. So there's about I think it's $22,000 or so that go to the kids that are graduating from the standard typical high school. And then there's another 4,000 or so that we donate to the kids that go to something called Quest, where it's the kids that don't quite fit in with the high school. High school just isn't for them with standardized learning and that kind of stuff. So they have their own little place where they can get technical skills and learn at their own pace and that kind of stuff. So we also give them a couple $1,000s, so a couple of those kids get it. But it amounts to about $25,000 every May. We work with the local scholarship fund, and we donate $25,000 in $2,000 increments. So about a dozen kids almost benefit from our scholarships.
How much is the scholarship typically worth for a student?
Around $2,000 each.
2,000.
Each kid gets about $2,000. Yep.
Let's talk a little bit more about your park stuff. What kind of stuff do you guys do? Anything special at the park besides the popcorn, or do you have a special project like a kids basketball or baseball or something like that goes into the park?
Well, you want to talk about like any TriStar, like the TriStar sports?
Sure, we can talk about sports. We don't do that at the Village Park though. We do get involved with the TriStar baseball and TriStar soccer. The soccer is at the high school soccer fields and run by the former coach of the soccer team. We get the kids together and try to run it, and we actually contribute the money for that. But the coach actually does most of the work. We have TriStar baseball in the summer, and that's all an Optimist Club thing. We get the teams to come over and do their thing, doing pitching and running and batting and that kind of stuff. Give them trophies, invite them into a meeting. So that probably gets, give or take, whatever year it is. It always varies, but we probably get about 100 kids at the baseball and probably 100 kids also at the soccer. And the good news is the kids enjoy it, and all the members have fun at those things too.
Yeah. And we're also giving back to so many different organizations that come and request it. If it's a local theater organization, the robotics team, mathematics, tons of sports athletic teams from the various schools in the neighborhood, from grade schools to high schools that, need a little extra donation to help them get entered into a state tournament or anything like that. So I feel like we do a really good job of spreading out the funds as best we can.
Yes, we end up with about $25,000 each year to various kids organizations. In various increments. 200. They ask us for maybe $200, and some of them off. We give up to like $3,000 depending on what's going on.
What size is your club, and how many members do you have on in your club, and how many are involved on an active basis?
I feel like probably all clubs have the same answers of like how many members versus active members. Kind of varies.
Yeah, we have about 110 right now. I think the last count was between 110 and 120 members. Yeah, the active members, much like I think any service club, 30% maybe are active, and we've got the same 30 to 40 people that we can rely on to help out with most events. So getting people to actively participate is kind of a challenge sometimes. And I don't think that's uncommon, but it is an issue. We try to get people, we try to emphasize how much fun most of these things are. Get involved.
All right.
30% is actually a pretty high number from some of the, if you can believe other clubs are lower than that. So we've interviewed.
Yeah.
So you guys are having pretty good turnout.
Yeah.
Hey, one more thing I want to talk about if we can. One of the other things that we do for the community is local parades. And so we have three major parades in the village every year. One is the Memorial Day Parade. One is the July 3rd Parade. It's the night before the 4th of July. And then a Christmas parade. And the Optimist Club is heavily involved in all of those with funding, providing volunteers, organizing them, administering them. There used to be a parade committee that worked closely with the village and then worked with various clubs, including ours. And they're kind of a separate entity. They just work closely with us. Well, they approached us last year and said, you know what? It probably makes sense because you guys are so involved in this stuff. Why don't you just take over the whole thing for us and do all the administration stuff? So we started that process last year. We just finally taken over stuff and taken over some of the books at the beginning of this year. And this will be the first year that we are totally in charge of all the parades. So I think that's another neat thing that we do for the community. We get a lot of people to go out to our parades, and a lot of volunteers come out and help. And it's just a fun day, and it's a great thing for the community.
So 3 parades a year is pretty interesting. How much participation do you get for floats and stuff in the parade, each parade?
How many units?
Yeah, what's the participation from the community with how many floats and stuff?
So I think for the 4th of July parade, it's like 100 and some units. It's close to 110, I want to say. I might be off by a little bit, but it's big. It takes a few hours to go through all that stuff, but we get a lot of people. We get units from out of state. They sign up on a website, and they sign up pretty early because they know it's going to be fun. The Christmas parade's a little bit smaller, and so is the Memorial Day parade. But I'm going to guess we still get around 30 or so units in each one of those parades.
So if you're in the Milwaukee area, anybody listening, please come on over to Menomonee Falls. Check out our events and our parades.
So, like I said, you guys are pretty heavily involved in the community. And what advice would you have for a club if they're struggling to fundraise? What is some advice you would give them to help get some stuff off the ground to be as successful as you guys are?
Well, first and foremost, I guess I would say 2 things. One is don't be afraid to kill things that don't seem to be working. So don't go tying up your volunteers with things that have just maybe gone past their prime. And we've done it with a couple things where they just weren't working anymore. And we said, okay, let's just move on. But second thing is don't be afraid to try things. So ask people for ideas. Amanda's been great about this kind of stuff. She encourages people to come up with ideas, and we try things. And so the meat raffles is one thing. It's a good example. We tried that. We started that about 3 or 4 years ago, and it's turned out to be a good money maker. Casino night came up. We've had the idea for a couple of years, and we just never got to it. And we said, okay, let's try that this year. So the main thing is try it, and don't be afraid to kill things that don't work. So a good example of that, we tried something I think 2 years ago. We did something called a Triker Fest, where we were going to get teachers to come around and ride on these big adult-sized tricycles and do a fundraiser in our village park. And it was kind of a blast, but it just didn't attract the number of people that we thought, and it didn't fundraise as much as we thought. So when it came up again the next year, we said, yeah, that was way too much work for way too little return. So we just killed it. We said, okay, nice try, good idea, but we're not afraid to say, yeah, let's move on. So try new things. I think that's the thing is, like, take any idea that you can, try it. If it doesn't work, no harm done. Move on.
Yeah. And I think with that sentiment, it's like just having people on the board and president like John who's willing to do that, because you can kind of come across being kind of stuck in your ways or stuck in certain events that, the club's done for 50 years and you want to carry it on. but really getting people and leadership in there to kind of raise their hand and say, okay, this isn't, serving us anymore. Let's switch it up. Let's change it. And being encouraging and overall positive, which is the goal of everything that we do, just to kind of take chances on new events, new ideas, really just encouraging members to speak up if they have an idea, being welcoming for anything. I mean, give anything a try. If somebody's willing, like the member who wants to put on casino night, she also does the meat raffles. So, just anybody willing to come up with an idea, willing to lead those efforts, like, just how can we rally around them and support them and get them what they need? Because not everybody feels encouraged to speak up and share their ideas, but the more you see it, hopefully the goal would be that we get more people to step up and do that.
It's really refreshing to hear a club say we're not afraid to try new things and kill things if they don't work. I think a lot of clubs get stuck in a rut where they think they have to make that one event successful. So I think the advice you have is great. I hope other clubs will follow that lead of embracing new ideas and trying new things.
Yeah, one of the other things I want to point out that we've done, and it's been kind of a sort of a little bit of a change over the last couple of years, is we used to be kind of loosey-goosey about the finances and what's going on with each event. And what we tried to do is take kind of a business 101 approach to it. So if you got an idea for a new event, it's not like, let's just go try it. Come to us with your idea, come to us with your budget, what you think it's going to cost, what kind of revenue you might generate, and get the board to approve it and ask questions and then say, yeah, let's go try it. And then more importantly, come back in afterwards and do a review of, hey, here's what actually happened, and here's where we could improve, or here's what went wrong, or here's where we were just an outstanding success. But the idea is make sure there's some accountability and make sure that we're being good stewards of our funds and making sure that we're doing things in a business-like manner, not just going willy-nilly into whatever.
Right.
Well, John and Amanda, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you being with us to talk about this stuff. I mean, your club sounds amazing. You have great projects, great fundraisers, and you're actually making the community a better place. And I really hope your efforts will inspire other clubs to try those raffles or do something in their community and make their community that much better.
Yeah, we hope
So
so too. And you can follow us on social media, on Facebook, Optimist Club of Menomonee Falls. I kind of run things there, so you can always feel free to message that channel. And, if anybody needs ideas or has questions for us or looking to just kind of chat about their own club, or interested in joining, if that's how you are here, we're always willing to kind of share thoughts, ideas, brainstorm with other clubs, other people. So feel free to reach out.
Yeah, come on into Menomonee Falls. You can speak at one of our meetings, and
Yeah,
we'll show you around.
yeah, we love that.